Okay, let's unpack something that feels a little dangerous today.
Yeah, this one is pretty cold, I have to say.
We're looking at a text titled The Zero-Sum Game of Confidence and Psychological Defense.
Hmm.
And it suggests that in competitive spaces, confidence isn't just something you build for yourself.
Yeah,
It's treated like a limited resource.
like a resource that can be taken. The whole premise is that it's a zero-sum game.
Right. So for me to gain status or power, your confidence has to drop.
That's the idea.
And what's so gripping about this source is that it's not talking about obvious, sabotage. The goal isn't to destroy a rival.
No, not directly. The goal is to erode their belief in their own judgment.
So they defeat themselves.
Exactly. It's psychological attrition. And the text explains why this works so well.
And it comes down to how we perceive things, right?
It does. It says humans tend to judge situations more by, appearances than by what it calls hands-on reality.
So if someone can attack your perception of yourself,
It's often way more damaging than attacking your actual real-world competence.
that's terrifying. So you could be great at your job, but if this works, you just hesitate. You start doubting your own instincts.
And that's the end game the source describes. The target stops acting and starts just seeking approval.
They get hit with that paralysis by options.
Mhm. They basically take themselves out of the game. The aggressor never has to throw a punch.
So let's get into the how, the tactics, because they sound pretty insidious. It mentions attacking the internal foundation.
Which is basically gaslighting,
Oh,
right?
it sounds like it.
Making the target question their own memory, their perception of what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes further than that.
There's an external attack, too.
Yeah, isolating the person from their support system.
Or even turning their usual sources of validation against them.
You're basically cutting off their reality check.
Exactly.
And maybe the most damaging tactic mentioned is creating what it calls learned helplessness.
By using fear, I assume.
You use fear to exhaust their decision-making. You train them to believe that being assertive is just too risky.
So eventually, they just stop trying.
They do.
Now, here's the part that really got me. The source is very clear that the most effective undermining isn't aggressive at all.
No, it's all about subtlety. It's not someone yelling at you.
It looks like helpful advice.
That just happens to highlight your biggest weakness. Or it's those innocent questions that are designed to expose an insecurity.
That classic, are you sure you want to present it that way?
Exactly. And one of those comments on its own seems like nothing.
But the text argues it's the pattern and the timing. The timing is crucial.
Oh, absolutely. These tactics are most potent right after you've had a setback.
Because you're vulnerable, you're already questioning yourself, so you're way more likely to accept this manipulation as, the hard truth. So, okay, knowing this happens, how do you defend against it? The source offers a strategy.
Well, the first step is just pattern recognition. You have to see it happening.
You have to spot when someone is constantly framing your success as luck.
Or always questioning your judgment, but they're doing it under the guise of teaching you something.
And once you spot that pattern,
You need what the source calls independent validation. This is so important.
you cannot rely on the manipulator for your sense of reality.
No. You need supportive relationships outside that dynamic. And you need to document things, objective evidence of your decisions and the outcomes. You need data to fight their narrative.
And at some point, you might just have to confront it.
You do. The source suggests naming the pattern and just refusing to participate. But it also raises an ethical boundary here.
In that these are defensive tools.
Right. Using them offensively against someone who isn't a threat, that's a strategic mistake. It will eventually damage your own reputation.
So don't become the thing you're fighting. It'll backfire.
Precisely. The goal is to make yourself a hard target, not to start manipulating other people.
Which brings us to the ultimate protection the source talks about at the end. It's called reality-based confidence.
This is the real antidote. It's
Yes,
confidence that's built on honest self-assessment, on actually building your skills.
And on character. Things that don't depend on what other people think of you.
Yeah. If your confidence is rooted in real competence, you become a very, very poor target for these mind games.
And that really is the key takeaway. It forces you to think about the foundation of your own self-belief.
It really does.
And the source leaves us with a pretty provocative question to ask yourself. Is your confidence built on the bedrock of your actual skills? Or is it maybe fragile enough that one well-timed, innocent question could just topple the whole thing?
That is the question to sit with.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.